in exaltation. We are Hope 103.1 FM.
Money talk. So the love of money is the root of all evil. Money talk. Money talk. It's the money they love. Yo, cause them get caught up in the right thing. The wealth and the fame enticing. Come on, don't wanna do the right thing. The love of money blind them a get caught up in the right thing. Wealth and fame enticing. Come on, don't wanna do the right thing. The love of money define them. Father God, keep us please from them religious schemes and them pretentious deeds with them infectious seeds. Keep us please from them religious schemes and them pretentious deeds with them infectious seeds. Money they love, money they crave. Love they have for money, make them turn into a slave. Money they want, that is the aim. Love they have for money, go drive them insane. It's money talk for this, money talk for that. If you say you got no money, them get heart attack. They want to know how much you earn, cause they were part of that. Got to learn to discern, you can't take it back. For them get caught up in the right thing. The wealth and the fame enticing. Come on, don't wanna do the right thing. The love of money it blinded. Them a get caught up in the right thing. Wealth and fame enticing. Come on, don't wanna do the right thing. The love of money define them. Father God, keep us please from them religious schemes and them pretentious deeds with them infectious seeds. Keep us please from them religious schemes and them pretentious deeds with them infectious seeds. Money is essential, but the love for money, that detrimental. It's to the leaders, please don't abuse your credential to mistreat people by the things that you mention. Hey, could them get caught up in the right thing? The wealth and the fame enticing. Come on, don't wanna do the right thing. The love of money it blinded. Them a get caught up in the right thing. Wealth and fame enticing. Come on, mama, don't wanna do the right thing. The love for money define them. Father God, keep us please.
Good afternoon, one and all. Welcome to another episode of the Money Talk. It's your boy Saint B alongside DJ Sabi. And it's Monday the 28th February, the final day of the second month, 2022. Yeah, Sabi.
Already, boy. A blessed good evening to everybody. All the see time running fast, so tells us a lot, and we see a lot of things happening in the world today.
You understand?
We must pay attention to.
Very much so.
Can't act like we blind, you understand?
Very much so.
Yeah, man, but so that was your day, boy.
Boy, it was a long one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I thank God that I have life.
Yeah.
And that I'm here. I'm able to come here and, you know, host alongside yourself another episode of the Money Talk, man.
Well, it's always a pleasure because, you know, tomorrow is promised to no man, so every day you get to see another day. You must give thanks, you understand?
True.
You have to be grateful to God for His saving and His protection, His grace, His mercies upon us, you know?
Yeah. You know, only today I was telling a coworker, it seems like you don't have to get sick anymore today.
Nah, man.
You know, it's like over the weekend I saw persons posting pictures of two persons, you know, I don't really know them, but I know of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's young persons, and just like that, they're gone.
Yeah.
You know, so it really causes one to reflect on one's life.
Yeah.
You know, what really is life?
Mm-hmm.
What really is life? And you have to ask. You have to ask yourself that question and the purpose why we're here.
True.
You know, and this is not really our home. You know, this is just more or less a preparation ground.
No, they say everybody want to make it to heaven, but nobody wants to die. It's amazing, right?
True that. Yeah, so again, welcome all our listeners, those locked on via our radio frequency 103.1, those on our website, Hope FM Grenada. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. Those on the social media platform, Facebook, YouTube. Good afternoon to one and all. And as usual, on the Money Talk, we discuss finances from a biblical perspective. And we'll be doing just that this afternoon. And the topic, the discussion this afternoon, because this afternoon is more going to be a discussion, it's going to be along the lines of owning your home. You know, what do you need to consider before getting to that place of owning your own home?
But you know, it's often said that a house is one of the biggest investment any single individual will make in a lifetime. You understand? So unless you're making, and it's one of the most common, so to speak. Yeah. If you're not building a big business, then you're actually trying to find a nice place to live. So the thing is, if that's your case, then you should have some ideas where you basically, you know, what you should do, and the steps you should take, the things you need to have, you know, just having knowledge and being able to apply it when the time is due is Paul. You know what I mean? So
yeah, true that.
important.
And even as we discussed this afternoon, we encourage you to share. You can use the social media platform to do so. Our WhatsApp number 403-1031. Even if you feel that you want to call in, Sabi, we can entertain the calls this afternoon. Same number, 403-1031. You know, we really want to make this one interactive, so we encourage you to share, ask your questions, share your experiences with us, because as we normally say, we don't have all the answers and we don't know everything. So it's a learning opportunity for all of our listeners this afternoon.
That's right.
So as we mentioned earlier, you know, we look at finances from a biblical perspective. So even before we go into discussing what you need to know or do or things to consider before owning your own home, we're going to look at what the scripture says, or what admiration is given to us in the word. Right. And the first scripture we're going to look at is Proverbs chapter 24, verse 27. And it says, "Prepare your outside work, make it fit for yourself in the field, and afterward build your house." Right? So let's see if we could break down that verse there, Sabi. Right? The Bible admonishes us to first prepare the lands. Right? The outside work. Those things on the outside. External. Right? Ensure that you have a good job. As we looking at building a house. Right? Not a lot of persons are farmers now. So when it says prepare the works outside, it can be translated to you having a job. Ensure that you have a proper job. Yeah.
Or a source of income. It must be a job, but it can also be a business or a source of income. Let's
Yeah.
Okay, a source of income could be even your husband or your wife job. You know what I mean? It does happen at times.
True. But yeah, not just working for somebody, but you can be your own boss as well.
Of course.
So that will be a source of income, right? Ensure that you have a proper education, or your business is set up properly, etc. Because as Sabi said earlier, it's one of the greatest financial investments you would make in your life. So you want to make sure, as the scripture says, that you prepare the outside work and you ensure that it is fit for yourself.
Right.
And it's able to take care of you. And after you do this, then you seek to build your house. All right. Oftentimes you encounter persons wanting to own their own home, and they approach the financial institution or the real estate agency for financing or to purchase a property, only to be turned down or rejected. Oftentimes they have little or no savings. They are clueless as to the amount of finances they can qualify for from the institution, among other things. But we see in Proverbs that the Bible encourages us to first put things in place. Similarly, in Luke chapter 14, verse 28, it says, "For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first, and counted the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it?" Right? It is therefore okay to say that before you consider making such moves or commitment, that you first sit down and assess the cost. But it goes further, not only the cost, but what is involved in the process and even after its completion. You know, Sabi, and this is so important. Time and time again, from different topics that we cover, we see here how important it is to sit down and count the costs before you do something.
Definitely.
Also, you know, to seek counsel from persons, because this is very important in you seeking to move ahead with owning your own property. A lot of times this is the first time for someone that they will be getting into it. So it's important to speak to persons that would have already walked that path.
Right.
Persons that would have already gone through that experience, and they can share light, they can share their experience with you also. You know? Anything to chime in there, Sabi?
Yeah, you need to find out all the things you would need to make your dream a reality, so to speak. You know, owning a home sometimes is a dream that most persons have, and you need to know what is necessary to make that dream come true.
True.
Now, after you finish praying, after you finish trusting God for what you want, it boils down to you now knowing if God blesses you with the job that you need, and the reason why you're asking God for the job is because you wanted to be able to build that house, or to buy a piece of land to build a house, or to buy and build at the same time. In other words, you don't want to buy property like land that have a house on it already. You want your own thing, and you want to be able to create something you see, something you like.
Yeah.
So you're still, anyhow you check it, must have that money to do so.
Must.
One of the things that is one must not just have the funds, but make sure the source of your money is clean. You understand?
True.
So some persons now, they don't have the ingredients. Some of the ingredients needed besides prayer is patience. And you don't have the patience, so you're busy, and so sometimes the enemy works on that and put you in position to cause you to be disappointed in the end. But God don't set you up. God never set up no one. He makes sure when he takes care of you that you're well taken care of. You don't have to worry about tomorrow. If God bless you with something, he's gonna really and truly, once you keep honoring him and you do what you have to do, once he blesses you, man, he blesses you, and that's it. Everything else to take care of that will be in place. He will bless you along with good health. He will provide everything you need to take care of that blessing. I'm not saying that the enemy is not busy and trying to devour us, but at the same time, we have to understand the God we serve, you know?
Very true,
So-
very true.
So it's not just the job, but I want to stress on the source of the job. There is a scripture that I looked at early this morning from Ecclesiastes, and he was talking about, Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 10. It says, whatsoever, no, actually it's not that one. He was actually talking about ill-gotten treasure. Ill-gotten treasures, where people get things the wrong way. You understand? Yeah.
And you know, it's like persons are running after so much material stuff now that it's easy to get swayed, you know, to be distracted and to not, you know, you just shut a blind eye as to the means
Right.
by
The
which
means
you
is
get these
important.
treasures. Yeah, yeah.
But if I should still share one important thing to share, just the same to share, from same Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 10, it says, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do it, and do it with thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. And the thing is, we want to accomplish things, and some people just lazy, man. Yeah, you get a job, you have this plan in the back of your head, or probably you even have it written down somewhere. But you start working, and it's like you're lazy, man. You're just lazy. You want the house, but you don't want to work. You understand? In fact, you want to be the boss, and you didn't the boss employer, but you want a boss space. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to check everything that happens along the way. See, when God blesses a man, you have to look at the whole trail before you get there. Who you become. You were speaking about that this morning. And the character. God is interested in the character. Because if he bless you with a house and you weren't ready for that house and he permits it, later on you might still be unsatisfied with the house. You will have certain issues and your life would not be like comfortable. So even then, yes, we know you want the home. Yes, we know you might qualify for the loan. Yes, we know you might be educated. But think about you as a person, because the house itself is not going to go to heaven or hell. It's the person that lives in it. So who you become in the process. Because sometimes you get a real big house and then you think you're a king living in a palace. You understand? So that's untrue in that right there.
Yeah, and even as you're talking about that, I believe it was this morning or last night, I was just watching on the news with what's happening in Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah.
And there was this lady, she was crying, saying how, she had to leave all her possessions and get out of the area that she was living in. And she was, she was in so much distress because of that.
Because of that.
And it just hit me, it's like, sometimes we hold on to material things so closely with our dear lives, but there will come a point when we will have to leave it behind.
You have to leave it. And most people don't want to leave it. Yeah. So you should leave planning to leave what you acquire. And that's what God is really important in. Interested in who you become, your character, how well do you know him, and not so much the house. However, we will still talk about how the things you need, but it's important for you to understand that your soul is more important than the blessings that you receive. The materialistic stuff, it's good, it brings a certain level of joy, but your real true source of joy and peace doesn't come from these things. It comes from God. You understand? Knowing God is more important than having all these things.
True.
Simple.
All right.
So we can move on into some other bits now?
Yeah, so we have a first question that we're going to throw out to the listeners this afternoon.
Right.
Why do you want to own a home? That's a question I think you need to start from that vantage point. Why do you want to own your own home? You need to know the reasons, and they need to be clearly identified. A lot of times people want to own a home because their friends have a home. Sometimes, yes, they can afford it. So they find, well, yes, let me build a home. And so the reasons behind building the home at times can be a bit not clear.
Yeah.
Or not the true reasons why you should be building a home.
True.
All right. I believe owning a home, it's one of the most basic needs, and it is stated as one of Maslow's basic needs of survival.
Yeah.
All right. A home protects you from the elements of nature. It protects you from external dangers, animals, wars, etc.
Wars, boys?
Well,
people running.
Right.
But I get you.
It protects you from what's happening on the outside.
Yeah.
But more so, it provides an environment whereby you can raise a family. Right?
That's important.
So you see here, these are some reasons for owning a home. Right? You intend on having a family. Right? It's a basic need of man. So that's why so much persons want to own their own home.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to first identify what are the reasons why you want to own a home. Sabi, what was the reason why you wanted a home?
I was going to answer that question if you asked me. Amazingly, boy, I was telling you, when I basically got married and thing, before I got married, when I was thinking about it, I knew I needed a place to stay because I'm going to be moving from where I'm at, and I have to, I all I knew was I didn't want to stay in my home, my parents' home. And the thing about it, these days you might find children becoming a bit overly possessive of what they didn't really work for. So they born into a home and their eyes already on it. Daddy and mommy have this and that's mine. In fact, they start saying, it's my home. You understand what I'm saying? From very young ages. And they might be saying it in the subconscious, it comes from the subconscious mind. But basically, they're actually telling themselves that. So I at one point also had to tell my sons, I said, listen, I hear all this saying that's my home and thing. I said, this is my home. I work for this home. I'm sharing it with you.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, you know, eventually you will get to own your own. And if it is God's will I give you that, then you have to get it from me.
Yeah.
It is not yours. So I had to put that right there. You understand? We know it's theirs, but you can't make them feel that they have to be comfortable so that they don't work for their own.
Yeah.
But when I wanted to own a home is because one, as a young man, I just think it's wise that a man he has a home.
Yeah.
You know,
True.
and I think if you have your own, I was telling you. So all these years I'm thinking the Bible saying, "Blessed is a man that have his own and thing."
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like a scripture. But this morning, after all these years, thinking, and that was one of the things, blessed, I tried to get a home because I thought the Bible says, blessed is the man that have his own.
Mm-hmm.
So I looking for this thing today, right? Finally, first time in my life, after over 12 years or more, looking for the scripture in the Bible, and I can't find it. Blessed is the man that have his own. You understand? But when I wanted to have a home, I thought it's a blessing to have a home, and blessed is the man that have his own. So my mom said, you could leave, come and build upstairs the house and stay there. And I'm like, no, blessed is the man that have his own.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a blessing to have a home. It wasn't a scripture. That's what I discovered. It's actually a song.
Yeah.
And not even a biblical song. You understand? And I thought that for years. So that was my motivation. Besides just having a place to call. And I thought it was a good thing. Just be working towards something. You understand? So yeah, but honestly, that was the main reason. I thought, blessed is the man that have his own.
Yeah.
But you're still blessed, but just note that it's not in the Bible.
Even for me, I remember my father always telling me, well, before a bird ready to go and make young ones, he does build a nest. So I always was of the thinking that, one of the first things a man should have is a house.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? He should have a place to call his own, a covering over his head. Yeah, and that was my thinking as well.
Would you change it? What's your take on renting comparing to owning your home? Do you think it's better to rent compared to building from scratch, buying the land and owning? What do you think is the better thing?
Well, it's based on the individual.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, they don't want this long-term commitment of taking on a mortgage, right? Because when you take on a mortgage, it's more or less for the rest of your working life, right? So some people, they don't want that commitment, and they see renting as, the easiest and could be cheaper way to go.
Yeah.
You pay the landlord the money when the month comes, and the landlord had to take care of the property.
Right.
Right? But the disadvantage is you can't do what you want.
That's the next part.
You understand?
So
that's not your home.
So you still have to understand that, as you say, depending on the individual. So if you know you want liberty, you want to turn up your music loud in your house, you want to
have your children running around the place.
And thing.
Yeah.
Even for the landlord, when the landlord rents too, with the children running around, then you're sharing. So if you decide to become a landlord, that's even another story. You have to have consideration for the people that you're actually renting, because your home become a business now, so you can't just treat people as you please and do whatever you want. It's like Saturday morning I wake up and I went in the back of the house upstairs, and my chainsaw was there a while, I say, why I didn't start that by? It was just about 9:06 or 9:05. So I crank up the thing. I started raving. But then I see a call coming on my phone from a tenant. So I was like, and I know that was close to her bedroom, but I wasn't thinking that she probably had been in her bed still. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I know she called me to ask me about it. If you hear me now, sorry. I didn't answer the call, but I know that's why she called. Like, probably I wake up and I hear or something from the noise. And that's some of the things you have to think about, basically.
Yeah.
So it's not one way, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing about as you say, being a landlord, about renting.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially when you're staying in the property. So if you're not there, that's become real estate. So it's a whole different story, you know.
True that. Another thing to consider is the location.
Right.
What location or where do you want to live? What made you decide to come up to Manjaloos, Abi? Besides your wife being from up here, Marian.
That's the reason, you know. You meet the wife, and if you put your head in one and you see where it's easier for both of you to be more happy, you make that move. You understand? So, and sometimes, like, if some people are blessed and fortunate, they have lands, and the person they meet also have lands. So both of you have land now. You can choose where you want to live and what you want to do. I didn't have any land at the time, so it's like, no, I have to go where the land is and build on the land. Why go and buy a land when we have land?
Right.
You understand? So you could buy land later.
True.
But at the time, and based on your financial situation and all these things, you make decisions and choices then. You know?
Yeah.
So,
but even location is something that you need to consider.
Very important.
Right. It is very critical when thinking of owning a home. You might be from, say, for example, St. Mark's, but you work in St. George. You might be married and both spouses work in St. George.
Yeah.
You know, you have to consider the cost of building in St. Mark versus building in St. George.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, you might own the property in St. Mark, but you have to consider the cost of traveling the distance daily versus living in St. George, where the commute is shorter.
Yeah. So
And
sometimes it's better you just sell the property.
and buy
Same with the
something.
land, you could choose to sell the land and buy another piece of land somewhere else and do what you have to do just the same.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Right. The location, as I said earlier, it's critical, and it will determine the cost also to construct.
Right.
Say, for example, you're constructing a building.
True.
It will,
Transportation fee for
from say dropping off material in St.
Gravel,
George
yeah,
versus you're going up to one of the outer
Exactly.
parishes.
Exactly.
And a lot of times, Abby, these are not things people consider,
Take time
right?
to think about, yeah.
No, they don't take time to consider these things. If you're purchasing property, the location will play a great deal in the cost. Say, for example, you're going in one of the communities, right? You know off the bat that the cost will be much higher than if you're purchasing in one. When I say communities, like the Lansapine or the Egmont or the Wester Hall Point, etc., one of these communities, you know it will be much more costly than if you're purchasing in one of the outside communities around. Right. You also want to keep in mind the potential for resale. And this is something that a lot of people don't consider. There might come a point where your salary might increase, you know, your standard of living increase. So you say, you know what, I think we can sell this property and purchase something else.
Yeah.
You know, the family has increased. The location of that property plays a heavy role on its ability for resale.
I was listening to something along the line the other day, our same partner, I can't remember his name, but the same partner I told you about it.
Yeah.
And he was saying, in terms of buying a property, you might buy a property that is very costly, but the area in which you purchase it, if you try to resell it after some years, just because where it's located, the value of the property doesn't grow much. In the space of a year or two, you can't really make no money from it if you want to sell it at that time.
Very true.
So sometimes all around is just dilapidated buildings. You understand? And that property, that building alone looks good, but because of the environment it's in, what's the value like? You understand? So
another thing when it comes to value is like, you know, something about seeing the ocean from your home.
Apparently that's a piece of gold.
People pay for that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like you might have two houses. One is of a better quality in a area, mountain view as they call it.
Yeah.
and a lesser valued property, but you could see the ocean,
Yeah.
chances are the one that can see the ocean will sell faster.
Sell faster. Mm-hmm.
Right, so all these are things you have to consider when you're looking at the location. And mind you, we didn't reach to the bank as yet, eh?
Nah.
We didn't reach to the bank. Well, that's providing that you have to get financing from a financial institution.
Yeah.
Right, so location is also key. Another thing is the type of property.
Even, let me put something there too, in terms of not just the location, but the type of soil and the location of the land. So it's not just the location in terms of the geographical area, in terms of the parish, or so if you include that, for example.
Yeah.
But the type of soil.
Yeah.
And where, because even to buy land, I remember this time I went up to St. David's to look at some land. My wife and I, beautiful views on top of a hill. But when I look at the scope of the land, I realize, and we will get to that later, maybe I can touch it now, from my insurance standpoint, buying that land that's on that slope, slippage could happen, and so it could cost you more based on the location of the property for insurance. You understand? Or makes it difficult for you to even get insurance. So you might buy the land, the institution might give you that money, but when you reach to that point where you need to get insurance, you might have a problem. You know?
Okay.
So that's
but even as you
consider.
mentioned that, based on the location as well, it might cost you more to construct because you might have to excavate, you might have to backfill
and all of that.
You know, all these different things. You know, I actually sat down with someone once and did we looked at some figures. Say, for example, you buy this flat land, it's costing you $20,000-$30,000 more.
Right.
Versus buying a cheaper piece of land that's on a slope.
Still gonna cost you more.
Right? You end up spending more monies on that cheaper piece of land versus buying the property that was flat.
Right.
You understand? That initially was costing you an additional $20,000-$30,000. And just to backtrack a bit, also for the commuter, because Sabi, if I'm working in St. George and I'm living down here, it might take me say $100 to fill up my tank when the week comes.
Yeah, true.
But someone staying in the outer parish, it might take you $200-$300 to fill up when the week comes.
And when you do the maths in the long run, you do the maths, you realize, well, wow, in the space of a year time or 5 years, I'm spending all that, not just on fuel, but you understand. And even if you're taking the bus, it still will cost you more.
Still will cost you more.
So you get a picture.
Yeah.
So you really need to think. You understand? Think deep, long and hard. Before you make decisions. Sometimes it's just better you just sell a piece of land based on where you know what you want to do with your life. You own a piece of land in the country, is it that you hold it, you mortgage it to do something, you understand? That you can actually make value out of, or I don't know, put some farm or something on it. Depends on what your intentions are. Or as long as you at the end of the day knowing what you want for yourself and your family.
You must know. Another thing to consider is what type of home are you looking to own? And when I say that, is it that you're looking for a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom property?
Right.
You want a swimming pool? You want walk-in closet? What type of property are you looking at owning?
Now, even before you go there, you still have to think about what can you afford to own.
Well, yeah.
Because what you might be interested in, you might not be able to afford it. So affordability at the time plays the greatest role. You understand? And you are a banker.
I think
so
I missed out that one on the finances.
Yeah, because you're a banker, so you know that.
Yeah.
I'm going to come by here, the first thing you'll say, oh, how much money you're making, sir?
Yeah.
Madam, what's your income like? You know? And you know bankers always smile for everybody, Got you guilty, man. we always say,
well,
we try to help. We have to analyze the situation.
We're helping everybody, is the amount of help that any one particular person could get.
Could afford.
Could afford, yeah. So let me backtrack on that point, Sabi.
Yeah.
So do I need to seek financing from a financial institution? You need to find out that. And if yes, how much will I qualify for?
Right.
And I think that sets the foundation there when you're looking at financing now. Do you have a relationship with a financial institution? Right, that you can approach for a mortgage loan? Because a mortgage loan is normally what you take to buy land, construct a house.
Right.
The banks and credit unions are the major institutions that provide financing for such expenses. The banks offer financing based on your salary or your income. They normally take a percentage of your monthly income, which is normally between 35 and 45%. And
why,
they use that.
We need to explain why that is important too. So it's just not leaving it there. Why not 60%? Why not 80%?
Well, you see, apart from paying your mortgage, you have to live. So you have utilities. You have to save some. You might have unexpected expenses. So the bank knows that apart from paying your mortgage, you also have to live when the month comes.
Right.
A lot of times persons tell you, well, I will make it.
And not just that, they actually will come to the bank, and when you have to do that budget, so the bank will determine what you can afford, you have people lying. They know they're spending $2,000 on food monthly. But instead they will put $1,000.
True. True.
They will put $500 just because sometimes they have knowledge. Now we're talking about that. So someone now interpreting that, oh, okay, well, it's 45% maximum. I need to get X amount. And you're looking at the big picture, but you're not looking at the smaller things that mix it up. You understand? So
they
don't lie when you go to the bank.
But
be truthful, otherwise you would only hurt you. Take it from us.
Because in the long run, when the, as they say, the rubber hits the road, and you have all these commitments, right?
Me and you know that
can't sleep in the night.
That's not that. Me and you know. Me and you know. When you just build, the hardest point in time, that's why preparation is key. Is the point when you just finish building that house. If you're building a house, you would have monies all along because you didn't start paying back that loan yet. You see that first couple months or to a year or so, if you don't plan for it when you're building, you would find life become a bit difficult that time. So you have to find ways to rearrange your income, or not your income but your expenditure, so to speak, because that is a major. Mortgage is one of the biggest literal debt that some people would take upon themselves as they leave. You understand? Not even a loan like a car loan that takes 3 to 5 years to pay off. We're talking about a mortgage here. You understand? You could easily own the car and then flip it and have the cash in your hand later on to buy another vehicle, choose to do some things. You would own something, depends on how you treat it. But when it comes to the house, it's one house. It's that you add into it, you can't reduce it. You understand? Nobody goes to the bank and say, here, go down. I don't want that part again. That extra bedroom I put on, you say, let me break it down and we'll cut down the monthly amount that you have to pay because you no longer did. That don't happen. So let's be real, people. You have to put, just be smart, be wise.
You have to
have a good savings, continue to save, plan, ask questions, because you will jump into things thinking it's one way and getting the surprise of your life.
And a good point to also start from is, how much monies do you want to spend when the month comes towards your mortgage?
Right.
What in your estimates based on your budget will be comfortable for you? So you're working for $3,000, and you're probably renting now. You're paying a rent of $600, $700, $800 a month.
Right.
And I say, you know what? I think based on that, I'm only willing to spend $1,200 a month on a mortgage. You have that discussion with your institution, right? Because sometimes you qualify for more than the $1,200.
Right.
But in your mind, you say, you know what? This is what I am willing
to. Yeah.
Right?
Very true.
So you tell the officer, this is what I am willing to work with. How much I get for that? and you start from that point. A lot of times people go into the institution and they want to find out how much they qualify for. The bank will tell you what is the maximum amount.
Yeah, and they will tell you, and it will mess with your mind a bit if you're not
It's
smart enough.
Whoa, again $500,000, boy. Whoa, I could put on a really nice house, a dream house, right? But when you have to pay the 2,000 plus when the month come, and then you have insurance on top of that, right? And then you have maintenance on top of that.
But you have more than one insurance, which we will get to eventually. Not just that home insurance, you understand?
Yeah. Right? It's like the figures start to add up now, so that 500,000 now is like, wow, it become a burden.
Yeah. And then you have persons making a statement like this to you. It's over 15 years now I'm paying this home insurance. When I do the maths, every year I'm spending over $3,000. And I never make a claim.
Yeah.
So why is it the insurance actually not even giving back no money? That's a question you get most times.
Yeah.
But the next thing is, if they be real, it will start at $3,000 a year, and it could increase if you being real, because guess what? After you get that property that you have so long to receive, and God bless you with it, the value of your property is going to continue to increase as you get older. Now, the reason why the value increases is because cost of living is increasing. Take, for example, 5 years ago, you went and buy steel or cement. Cement used to be $20 a bag, or even $18. But now you're going to spend $24 to $28 at times, depends on the availability of your thing. I don't think it's less than $24. And it could be more, maybe even 28. So that's in a matter of years. So now, just because of that, the build a house become more expensive.
Yeah.
And not just that, gravel price is going to go up. Sand price has increased significantly over the years. Rebar price is increasing.
The price
Everything
of wood
is
has
increasing.
significantly gone up.
So when you want to build back the same house you have built years ago, and if you insure the same house for the same value that you paid for it, to replace that property, it's definitely not practical. Yeah, you would, and some people say, I just need no more money for the insurance because nothing can happen in Grenada, and then one hurricane come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then your house gone, and you try to figure it out and realize, well, what happened there?
Yeah.
So all it does is, or we just see, I would say, is that we have to spend more money for not understanding what we're involved in. But yeah, that's just what it is. We get back into that a little bit.
So how much money is you're willing to spend on your monthly mortgage payment?
Yeah.
You can start from that point. You
Very
don't always have to go with what the loans officer is telling you qualify for.
That's just what the system says based on your current situation.
Yeah.
Be smarter than that.
Right. But if you make up your mind, you're only willing to spend $1,200, and this is going to give you the life that you want.
Yeah.
Right. Because a lot of times you hear people, anytime they have a mortgage, they always cry in trouble. Sabi, they always cry in trouble.
That is true. You ever wonder why? But guys, we also want to remind you can feel free to give us a call on 403-1031. The lines are open constantly, so if at any point in time you need some clarity with something, we'll do the best we can. If we can answer your question truthfully and factual, we will tell you, and if we can't, we'll say sorry, we cannot answer that question. But as you know, Gat has quite a bit of years in the banking sector, and I've been in insurance for some years just myself. So feel free if you have a question to ask us regarding, it's good for we as Kingdom people and people in general to know those things, so that when you're ready to make decisions, you're actually in a good place. We didn't talk about another party yet in terms of the legal fee and how expensive it can be sometimes just before you get that mortgage. You understand?
To execute a mortgage and so.
Well, let's go.
All right. So we looking at a financial institution. So yes, Abby, just to end off there. So you need to go into your institution, your financial institution, to know how much monies you will have access to, you can have access to, before we get to the point where you're looking at deciding what type of home you want.
I could add with this too. Shop around for options. Not because you have a good relationship with, I ain't calling no name, whichever institution you bank with currently, means that's the place you're going to get the best rate and terms and so on. So it pays to check here and there and see what the entire market have in store. And if you're comfortable with it, you make a move according to the information that you receive.
Yeah.
You understand? I remember some years ago, God, that's something I did. You know, have you ever been turned down from trying to get a mortgage before?
Well, not mortgage, but like loans.
Small loans.
Yeah.
What did you feel?
It was not the best feeling, you know.
When I wanted to build, my wife and I wanted to build our first house. I remember we went to the old RBTT bank in town, the one that was there now. Somebody buying a building over. And I was making enough money, she was making enough money, we had no children, nothing, so things smooth. But we went to the bank, they take everything they need, we give them all the salary slips, everything required, we give them the deeds, everything, copy of that, so everything in place. Insurance, everything was in place, and at that time, boy, the company I was working for was going through some financial difficulties. And there you have it. On that merit, the bank didn't give us the loan. But as a man of God too, still, I was just like, God, you know better. So I didn't let that shake me. But I know for the wife, she was a little bit disappointed because my attitude was, and that's why I said, like, the person you become in the beginning of the conversation, who you are, will help you. Your faith, because sometimes you have to know what God is saying in the situation when you desire certain things. So my attitude was, God knows better. If He gives me this, it's because He will be able to help me through with it.
Yeah,
but if He don't give me it, maybe the time is not yet. So you have to learn to respect that. Don't beat yourself up and say you didn't get it and you give up and you ain't trying again. Okay, go back and see what it is. But in the process, I've learned so much that I was able to help such a lot of people just understanding the process to the point of making an application for a loan. So we both actually know that. So we're not guessing stuff, you know what I mean? We talking things that we experience and live through. All right?
Yeah. All right. So next we're going to look at savings because most times you might require or need a down payment. So this is where the planning comes in.
Right.
Right. If you're purchasing land, for example, the institution, they normally require a down payment. And not just a down payment, but legal fees, right? So don't think it's just, okay, you have to come up with a down payment at 10%, but you also have legal fees.
And to give an idea as to in dollar figure what they normally does be like, you want to just share the legal fees?
Well, it's based on what the amount you're borrowing.
And let me go back to that. The legal fee there, most people might think, well, why do we need to have it? The bank has their lawyer. And that lawyer is responsible for putting together a contract, right? As to the terms and the conditions.
That is what is a mortgage document.
Basically. So this is what you're paying for. And without that, you cannot have that. And this is legally binding. So that says, if you go against the terms that you pay for, you could lose what you actually pay for. You understand? In simple terms. So that is important, guys. And these fees, as God said, it depends on the volume or the amount of cash you're loaning. It's not very cheap sometimes. Sometimes it's really not very cheap.
Sometimes it's as much as 3%, 5%.
Of course.
Of the total amount that you're borrowing.
You understand?
So it could be quite costly.
I was blessed. So it pays to pray and to trust God. I've done mortgages and dealt with more than one banks in the past, my wife and I, and each time we didn't have to pay for the legal fee. It was a bank offering some special. You understand? And that was just, so that's another time if you're doing stuff you have to be aware of. There are times when the banks are there and they want business based on how the portfolio is doing. So they would do stuff to attract people to come in to consider a mortgage. So have to be in a place where you know what's going on in the market when you're actually looking for when you're interested in building a home. You understand? So it pays to get to know people in these places these connections who you can tell this is what I'm looking for. If you go into the bank, anytime I'll have a special, don't forget, just give me a call. Hey, just never know, you might be in that place where things can happen for you.
Yeah.
You understand? So,
Yeah.
just pray God go lead you like me. You know?
That's very true, Sally. Very true. All right. Next, if you own the land, is the title good enough to stand a mortgage? And I've put this in here, Sabi, because a lot of times we have lands coming, well, family land.
My grandmother my grandmother dead and she did it with me.
And she leave.
She didn't deal with me.
Yeah.
So it's mine.
So it's mine.
Yeah.
Right? It's like all the land there is us.
Yeah,
it's ours.
It's our own.
You understand? And they tell me I could get a piece there.
Mm-hmm.
So they come into the institution now with sometimes a piece of paper. You know, nothing that could really hold weight.
No substance.
You know, could it really hold any water?
So you know what that tells us and our listeners? If ever someone tell you they're leaving something for you, make sure it's done properly. Make sure your name is on it.
Yeah.
Who's the owner? If it's a deed of gift, ensure that that gift is given. You understand? And you don't just say you have a gift that is not yours, really. You understand what I'm saying? So
yeah, you need to do that.
You need to.
A lot of times, well, not a lot of times. Another thing you need to pay attention to is if it's lands acquired via statutory declaration.
Right.
Right. That is something that could really put a spoke in your wheel when you go to the institution, because a lot of the banks, they don't accept that sort of title. And what is now required is for you to regularize that with under the Possessories Title Act, right? And that takes a while. So the institution might have a special going on now, but because that's the status of your title,
spokes in your wheel.
You understand? You now have to go through that whole process, and you miss out, right?
Well, something I want to add there just before we go on. Another thing that does cost some money, and I'm telling you, it costs some money, so that's why savings is important, is getting that architectural drawing, that plan. So you have what you have in your mind, you know what you want, but you need to be able to put it on paper. So you need to contact an architect or even an engineer and have them create that plan for you. See if what you want is feasible based on the location, again, as God stated. Because sometimes you want certain things based on how your land is, based on the texture, the soil. If it's rocky, there are things you will not be able to get. You understand? So that is important. And these days, we know the architects and so on, or the draftsmen, they are able to create 3D designs. So down to your color. So I say to you, put a lot of thought into what you want. You understand? When I drew my plan, well, my plan was drawn from years ago. My wife and I, the first plan, the architect couldn't give us these type of things. You know, so after some years now, because, you know, you do the plan, you have to go to physical planning. We in Grenada, so we talking for Grenada. So your plan have to be approved now, and it's another process. You understand? So all of these things you have to, because you might put a light switch out in the veranda, because you tell yourself you want to plug up your thing there, but you have the inappropriate type of outlet there, and rainfall, and you're dying inside your house.
You understand?
You pass and you touch one of your switch, and the water get into the electricity, and you're fried. So physical planning, you have to check all of that, your position of your septic tank. So much things you have to take into consideration. And that's why it's, you know, one of the biggest investment one makes, because it takes time. The bigger the property, is the more you have to use from your brain. You know, it boils down to every room where you put in your closet, or so much things to think about, guys. It's not I just want a house. You know?
Yeah, so it's not just I want, right. So at that point, we should be at a stage where we are deciding on the type of home that we want. Right. Is it that you have a large family, so you need a lot of bedrooms? Right. You might have a small family, so you just need 2 bedrooms. All the children they've gotten old, they moved out, right? Whatever the case might be, you want a swimming pool. Sabi, I always say the next house I'm building, I put in a swimming pool.
Yeah, well, I'll come and be in a swimming pool. It takes it up. Some barbecue around it, you know what I mean?
So that is
Like, me ain't believe in no building. Watch that, man. Listen, when you build a house, I don't feel like the things should just sit on there. There are rooms I don't use in. Nah, you build a house, use the house. If you put a swimming pool, bathe in it, man. Don't put swimming pool to say, oh, it's just design and you're looking good, man. God. Otherwise, I'll just jump in that swimming pool for you. I can't check every weekend. So much sort of kind of thing going on.
Yeah, but it's like, and that's I could tell you that's me and my daughter's goal.
Right.
The next house that I build, I put in a swimming pool.
Right.
Now, what I've discovered is you don't need to be building $1 million house to put a swimming pool.
Definitely not.
You understand?
Yeah.
You don't need to be building $1 million house to put a swimming pool. But that's the type of house I want. I want a swimming pool is one of the key things that needs to be in it. So you need to decide. And all this is after you come out in the institution and you know how much money is you're working with. Right? So even though I'm working with, say, $200,000,
you could still get a swimming pool.
I get my swimming pool, but it just means that my house might be on the smaller side.
Yeah, or the swimming pool
but
could be
I'll be comfortable with that because I have a swimming pool.
A jacuzzi, you jump in a jacuzzi and swim.
You gotta come and sit down.
You understand? But you want something with some water in it. You have to decide how deep you want it, how wide. You know, how much swimming area you want to be able to swim.
You know, when you look around now, this minimalist house vibes is trending.
Yeah.
You
all
know,
the walls and things inside the house, people don't normally do that again.
Yeah.
And I said, if the Lord bless me and I have to build another property, I'll be real. I don't think any zinc will be going on top of it.
Yeah.
Because there are many different ways to build things that look very beautiful. Very simple.
True.
It's just design.
It's just design.
With the right now, it's like people who build in a house know they have it even much better because you could use drywall inside to save money. You understand, which is a faster work, and depends on where you put it. It's no biggie. You won't even know it's drywall. Unless it's drywall, it's shit rack. You understand? It does work and it works really well. A lot of buildings in town use a lot of shit rack work, but you won't see it, and it's easy to paint. It takes less time, so you have to know about those things. You understand? In order to put them in. And if you don't know, we can't leave this out. Then you need to make sure you get a contractor. Who's going to be responsible and get an experienced person
that know.
Get a very experienced person. You can look back at the trend. The banks normally ask to get references from at least 3 or 2 persons that they would have built house from before, just to ensure that they're actually capable to do what they actually would be paid to do. So you yourself have to say, well, show me some houses you're building. You're right to do so. You understand what I'm saying? So.
You need to. And even as you speak of that, I remember in like the older houses, they used to build this roof so high.
Boy,
Listeners, like you're fitting a whole story up there, you know.
Boy, I tell you.
And I always used to wonder why. And you know, when I was building the first house,
the first thing you say, you don't want that.
I say I don't want no high roof.
So high roof.
So I speak to
the high roof.
But I tell you, putting a whole floor up there.
Yeah, man.
And I just saw it as wasted space.
Yeah, and
waste material,
money too.
everything.
Yeah, waste money. So there are things you can do. There are things you can do.
There are definitely things you can do.
So ask questions. Don't take it for granted. You know?
do that.
And because your mother had a house with a big high roof means you have to go and build one with a big high roof too.
Yeah.
Or your father built a house. So, I really love that. Well, I mean, maybe your preference. I will leave it like that.
And another thing to consider, what is currently the market trends. So even as you spoke of the house there, I'm seeing people now, looking at the option of a container home. Right, you get a 60-foot container or 40-foot container, right? You sheetrock the inside, you put on a roof, and that's your house. Right, so it would also be good to check out some of the current trends that's taking place. You also need to look at the cost to build. Yeah. Right. Is it going up at a faster rate than expected? Is material scarce on the market?
Boy, this one just slow down the process.
You
eh?
know,
Big time.
what we're seeing happening now is the cost of lumber is increasing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm seeing a lot of persons now putting their roof in concrete
Yeah.
because it's working out way cheaper.
Mm-hmm. But even then, doing that, you also need to understand it's not just casting a roof in concrete because it could leak still.
Yeah, it could leak.
So you have to make sure you whoever is doing it, they
And
do
in
it
the long run,
properly.
it could be very costly.
Of course.
Mhm.
You'll be in your house and water be coming through it and you'll be like, well, how is this happening?
Yeah,
And they might say I put plastic and still you realize the plastic doesn't do it, still got.
yeah,
So it's all about knowing. And you see, sometimes you hire a contractor and you might say you have a choice now, because the bank sometimes might tell you these are lists, or sometimes you have a list of contractor or recommendations from people.
yeah,
So because this contractor say to build a house is going to be cheaper than the other one, you might be quick to run to the place where it's cheaper,
yeah.
but the quality of the work
That's the thing.
could be very
true.
disappointed in the long run.
Very true.
So that's why you have to, before you find a contractor or agree and say, this is the contractor I'm going to use, it pays to ask questions. Show me, you know.
Mhm.
You ever done a concrete roof before?
Mhm.
Show me at least two. Let me speak to the persons who you
Yeah.
dealt with. Because
Yeah.
some contractors have very bad habits. Some of them will try to thief your money. You have so much things.
Yeah.
They will leave you stranded
corners.
sometimes, and they taking your material, they building one house, say they're going to the next house and build. You understand what I'm saying? And they dishonest and all them things. So you have to, there's a lot of things to consider. You understand?
Yeah, true that. True
Mhm.
that. True that. All right, and then finally, do I have enough insurance?
Mm.
Right, and we're gonna look here at both life insurance.
Yeah.
Right, and then even during the process, there is insurance that you will need, and after.
Yeah.
Right, so you have to ask yourself that question. You need to assess where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but Sabi, could you share just a bit more on the insurance, because
Well,
I know life insurance normally required for the loan.
yeah. Well, the very first thing, because you know when persons come to you and they want to build a house. Funny enough, I've experienced a lot of loans officers in time past don't ask the persons about their life insurance.
Yeah.
In fact, sometimes they say what they may need it, but they don't make it sound as if it is something urgent.
Yeah, that you
No.
require.
Funny enough, not everybody who could qualify to pay a loan could qualify to get insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, let me just go right down. That you might be too thin and you come to buy insurance, and I will say to you, boy, I'm sorry, I can't help you. You're
Mhm.
underweight. So you have your money, but your weight, your health, you see who it comes to.
Mhm.
Your health plays a significant role whether or not you can qualify for insurance. If your BMI is not that good, you also have a problem to acquire insurance because you're too big. In other words, you're not fat. You're just too lovely. And if you're so lovely, then that could be a problem for you. So just imagine you have a good job, you can pay, right?
Mhm.
Just imagine you have the land, you have a salary,
Yeah.
you have the plan to build the house, you find the perfect contractor, right? You have all these things in place, but your health is not in proper standing. And sometimes, bro, it's not no fault of yours,
Yeah.
you know? And I've seen people being very frustrated when they come to that point. Because I had all my plan written down what I have to get. And the
Mhm.
bank can tell me nothing at that point, and now you come to buy insurance and you cannot qualify for it. Not because you cannot pay for it, but because your health is not in the right place. You
Yeah.
understand? So it tells us not just saving, but also being a healthy person is important
It's important.
when you're considering building. Some people are age, they take a long time, so they would have been renting for years and years and they've been getting old but not taking care of themselves.
Mhm.
And now they reach at that age, 40 years, and they want to go and take a mortgage, but they're not in good shape.
Yeah.
You understand? That will deter you from acquiring the life insurance that you need.
Not your need.
And the purpose of the life insurance is really to work as what we call collateral security. Now, if you have land, and if you have sufficient land, value way more than the property you want to buy, would the bank consider using your land as security instead of the life insurance in this case?
No, they still normally ask for the life insurance.
Right.
Yeah.
The reason for that is no financial institution want to wait and go and sell that, to cut up lots and try to sell this thing to make my no. If you die as the payer and you have equivalent insurance, if it is a family situation or if it's just you alone, we want to make sure it's a contract again, and the bank become the principal or the beneficiary or the person who benefit from you dying if you die. So if you die, then bank get money first, and guess what? The property stays in your family's name, and your children get to own it and don't have to worry about losing it and losing a roof over their heads and all this type of things. So you need life insurance. My advice to people who are interested in insurance, or not just interested in insurance, but if you want to build and you know it's something you need, don't wait until the last minute to try to get it. Don't wait until you're ready to go into the bank. It can become very frustrating sometimes with the back and forth, the amount of questions you have to answer, the amount of pricks you have to get from the doctor to justify that your blood is flowing good. So my thing is, think ahead. As much as you're saving, if you can gather everything you need to know up front, and then make a checklist, like we were saying, make a checklist and make sure you're knocking out stuff. Yeah. So you know, okay, I can qualify for $400,000, but I want to build a property for $250,000. Maybe I should buy extra at $300,000 just in case we have inflation, the cost of living increased by the time I'm ready to do my thing. So I don't have a shortfall there.
Yeah.
Now, another thing to note is that the banks generally would give you, and some of the financial institutions will give you up to about $54,000 or $56,000, some $52,000 of worth of insurance, right? So then most times they ask you to get the difference because the mortgage you're getting is already built in that portion, right? They provide for that and they charge you for it too. They don't get tied up, but think it's free. So it's inside your bill. Right, so most people don't know that, but we sharing the information this evening so you guys could know and make informed decisions. So after you get the life insurance in advance, you have it there. Make sure you have a good thing set up to pay. Don't lapse, because if you lapse, you stop paying your policy, your premium monthly, and something happen. Let's say you get sick, your health situation change. Now to get that policy back on, to reinstate it is the proper word. It becomes a bit difficult now sometimes because of a change. If you get fatter and you're paying it and you had it when you're slim and you could have qualified for it then, all good now. Even though your weight change, you can't tell you nothing because your thing was then, based on then and not now. But if it lapses, then it becomes an issue of the now. So planning is important. Know what you want. And we know sometimes circumstances in life may cause things to happen. I'm quite aware of that. But you have to try your best to keep yourself in a good place. Now,
you have to.
Now you're done with that particular type of insurance. You have it there. You qualify for your loan. You have insurance. You have land. You're pretty proper. Your name on the deed. It belongs to you, Tom, Dick, or whoever your name is. You have enough money put aside to pay for the legal fees, to pay even the stamp fees and all the other fees that you will hear about when you go to the bank. You understand? And then you qualify for that mortgage, you start the process. Just before you start to build, you need another type of insurance at that time. Now you're going to build. So we have what we call building under construction, or we call it a CRC, Contractors All Risk Insurance, which caters for your material, because you buy sand, gravel, and you place it on the ground, and we have a big flood, and you didn't protect it properly, and the rain comes, big flood wash away all the material. Your cement you had your cement, so you have to do your part to make sure you store your thing right. And if after you do all you can, something happens, then you could say, insurance, I insured for that. But from the time you dig the first trench and you place steel inside of it, it's money that you're spending from the loan, so you have to insure it from that point. So we call that building under construction. It's normally not that expensive, not too expensive from the inception. And it is for the period of building. The contractor could buy it, but you would still pay for it, as well as you can buy it. You understand? And then you have the contractor have to decide on that, because if on the job a man fall off the roof or something and he break out 2 bones, you might get a call. I might get a call as an insurance broker asking what's in place for that man. But is it the contractor's business to consider what happens to his, or what can happen to his workmen, or is it the person house you build? If you build in my house, is it my problem? You understand what I'm saying? So you have to know those things. So you build the house, after that period, you finish building. So that's like life insurance. You have this other insurance in place for the purpose of building. Now you're done building, you need to get homeowners insurance.
Right.
You understand? And that covers your house for in the event of hurricane. There are different ways you can buy them in terms of for fire and perils. Perils are like earthquakes, lightning bolts, if your house burned down, things that could happen. You may also get public liability that caters for persons that comes on your property if they fall, something of that nature. You understand? There are some other intricacies of the policy in terms of the what we call the, that most people don't like, but it's the excess of the deductible. And that part, sometimes if you have certain things that doesn't cost too much money, you might make a claim, and the insurance will say, well, you didn't meet your excess, so we can't pay,
get back anything.
And you feel like, whoa, what's up? So ideally what I'm saying is that you need to speak to somebody who knows about those things to give you enough information so you know when you spend your money what exactly you're getting. And the best advice I can give you, don't just, because we had a tendency, because the banks say to get a loan, we are like, okay, let me just go and get it and take anything, and we don't even know what we're spending for.
Once you
understand?
Get the amount.
Yeah, until something happens, you come and you say, oh, well, I thought. And this is why people, as I always say, always say, oh, insurance is thief and thing. No, you have a right to get a document, to look through it, ask questions. You know what I mean? If you're not certain of certain things, don't sign nothing. It's that simple. You understand what I'm saying? So for the homeowners, you could buy homeowners insurance card and don't get burglar protection on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody break up into your house now and they steal a host of the things inside your house, and they might say to yourself, well, how come? I thought I have insurance to cover the house, so how come?
Yeah, the agent didn't tell me nothing about
You understand? So you look through your policy and you realize this is a exclusion because they started for you a little bit cheaper, and sometimes people move from one place, they move to the next place thinking, well, insurance is cheaper over here, but what they get in the benefit is less. So you have to know your area sometimes, based on if you know people are prone to be thieves and robbers around your spot. Then buy insurance according to what you think what could possibly happen that can cause you to be at loss, if something happened bad. So these are some of the things. And the thing about the home insurance, just as the life insurance, you get it. Home insurance, as long as you have that mortgage, and life insurance, as long as you have that mortgage. These two comes together as an additional bill when the month ends. So you're paying for mortgage, and listen, we may say the home insurance is annually. That's just the term you choose. Divide it in 12 and you will get the monthly payment. So you still have to pay it over a period of time, and it is until you complete that mortgage. And even thereafter, I've heard of people who say at that time, well, mortgage done, finally I ain't paying no insurance again. After years now, you ain't paying no insurance, and one storm pass, and bruh. And just the same I've heard about people who been paying the thing, they retire, they continue to pay, a hurricane pass, and the bill back bigger and better.
Yeah.
You understand? You know why? Again, it works in your favor in the long run. When a storm pass and you have a contract, no insurance can come and they can tell you they're in pain. To give you a bit of comfort, let me just go a little bit further. Now, over the years, I understand why people were so skeptical where insurance was concerned. Home insurance and so on. You've heard of persons who would have purchased home insurance and a hurricane pass and they get no money got. The insurance company they disappear at that time. So I'm not disputing that, but what has happened over the years since the last economical meltdown in 2009, I would say, and 10, 11, when the insurance company was going through some turbulence, the government has placed a body in place to pay a key role. They trust me, I'm regulated. I have to pay them every year to mind my business. They come in and they make sure I'm just a broker, and they go in depths as to what I have to satisfy in order to stay in business. as a broker, just somebody that is between you, the client, and the insurance company. And the insurance companies themselves and financial institutions like banks and credit unions, they also have been scrutinized very closely so that the economy stay afloat. They have to pay to function just so that you could be happy as a customer should something go wrong. If they're not satisfying the need, that threat is being met only, and they may have to be put on pause. They have to rectify stuff before they continue. So not like in the past where things would have been so bad with a company and the government or whoever it is, the body responsible for that wasn't paying no attention to it, and now your assets, your money that you're working hard for is being placed into these institutions, and there's nothing coming back when they crash. And trust me, when they crash, they just change your name sometime and start over a new company, and you lose out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So some people, let's say, it's unnecessary evil. I don't know if you ever heard that term before.
I heard that term.
You know what I mean? But
it's to cover the what if.
What if, basically.
Yeah, that what if.
You know? So if you understand that, I've seen people again got even with vehicle insurance, who would have went to a particular institution, insurance company, because they don't want to spend for insurance. And as soon as they have a claim now, the reality hits home.
Yeah.
So it never matters until it matters.
Yeah.
So if I were you, what I would do is to ensure wherever I choose is not just based on price, but is also based on the quality. And that's why it's good to have a broker who is in the market who will look out for your interest. So again, you could check out Easy Brokerage Services. We'll tell you more about that later. Let's move on.
Well, that Sabi there was more or less our last point. Right, but what I want to say is this list is not exhaustive.
No.
You know, there are a lot of other things you have to consider. And from here, you can dive deeper into each different point.
Yeah.
Right, so even when you're looking for your architect, right, you had to take into consideration the cost. Some of them guys, they charge per square footage. Some of them, they will just give you a fixed cost. You know, some of them, they
might give you all work.
You know, they just give you a generic
wrong
plan.
Measurement. When time come, things ain't matching up.
Yeah.
Man, I've seen and heard about
they
these things.
They leave out things that the inspectors would be looking for. You know, and so there's a whole back and forth when time for physical planning approval. So all these different things you have to look at. When time to apply for the loan, there's a long list of items you need to bring them.
Yeah.
Right. So this is just touching the surface as relates to things you need to consider when you're looking to own your own home.
I know even with the insurance too, there's two values when you're considering because the thing about a house, which is so nice, I don't know any other investment or any other mortgage that does do that for people. Like if you acquire it, the value of the property is working in your favor. But you see, the thing is, until you fully own it, you would know what you really buy.
Yeah.
You understand? So you build a house now, and when you're done, you take a loan for 200,000. That house value on the market at that time on completion, it could be 220 to 230.
Yeah.
With just the time you complete it.
Yeah.
And thereafter, and if things keep changing in the environment you're in, and you understand, so you could always choose to sell that house if you please. You know, most people tend to not want to part with the house that they put so much thought and consider. They sit down and, you know, for me, I feel like, bro, to be honest with you, if I had to, just rent out my old house and go and rent from you, I would do it today. Wifey, I know you're listening, but I would do it because
once I have the pool.
That's another story, but we will talk about that behind closed doors. You know what I mean? Some people might say I'm crazy, but there are ways to do stuff, you know what I mean? Nonetheless, the next thing we could talk about too, just quickly before we wrap up, building in your parents' property, like on your parents' property that's already existing, compared to finding and building your own.
Your own.
So, would you want to invest monies, take a loan and add to your parents' property, or would you want to consider starting afresh?
Well,
you know,
if I have to look at that, I would say cut out my piece of land.
Yeah.
Let me do my thing, though we in the same yard.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because if you didn't do that, and I've seen it happen, family just get away.
Okay, but at the end of the day, the key thing to note is, listen, unless your father or your mother put that property on your name, you could add what you want to it.
It's not yours, eh?
Theirs.
It's theirs.
It is theirs.
Yeah.
It belongs to them.
You can't go with it.
You understand?
Yeah.
So, even if it's the last child or the first child, and you hear, historically speaking, it is normally said that the first child will get the property. You have no guarantee that the thing will swing in your favor.
Yeah.
So, if you can have your own, although it's not scriptural, blessed is the man that have his own. That was one of the thought that helped me to, press towards having my own.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad thought after all.
Yeah,
You
true
know?
that, true that. Shatonia has a question here. If you guys had to do it all over again, would you still build your own or rent for the rest of your lives? We kind of touched it earlier,
Yeah.
but I will do it again.
I
And
would- I would.
You will?
Nah, I
You
will
will
tell
rent?
you. I will tell you what I would do. Go
And
ahead,
and
bro.
the reason why I won't want to rent, but I will want to own my own, is because one, I like my privacy.
Mhm.
I want to know that the landlord there
Right.
watching my move. It's like I gotta watch what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I might want to go and do a little kitchen garden and I can't dig up the man
Yeah,
lawn.
you have to get permission.
Right, I want to, different things you might want to do,
Mhm.
right? And you don't have that freedom.
Mhm.
No, I think what happens is that persons, when they're moving from renting to owning their own home, the jump is so great that it comes across as, there's some shock that takes place. So they were renting for $800, but then they go and take on a mortgage and they're paying $2,000 a month.
Mhm.
And they were never able to catch themselves after that. And that is why the point we made, Shatonia, where you have to decide how much you want to pay your mortgage each month,
Mhm.
right? The bank might be telling you, yes, you're qualifying for a mortgage where your payment is $2,500, right? But
Do you want
know
to spend all of that?
when the month comes, you
Yeah.
only want to spend $1,200,
Just a blank grand.
right?
Mhm.
$1,000. So you're gonna be going on the basis of I'm only going to be borrowing the amount of money that would give me a mortgage payment of $1,000, and that is the house I'm going to build,
Mhm.
right?
Because the next thing too, based on the amount of land you have and so on, you might be able to just make a foundation with that. The banks are not hard and fast these days, I think, in terms of persons adding to the property.
Yeah, you
You
could
have to get their permission.
Yeah,
You understand? Most people don't know that. They think because they have the property, they can just go
They
and
can
add
just
it
do what they
downstairs or
want.
put whatever they want to do.
Mhm.
So with their permission, you can go ahead and start to add value to it. It's just equity. Basically, you're adding to it because it's money out of your pocket. So it's just like, even if you have a big plan, you understand what I'm saying? You might not be able to do the entire thing right away, but you could have your big plan and take a loan for part of it
yeah,
and do what you could do with your pocket piece by piece.
piece by piece.
And build and get what you want still.
Yeah, and then Shatonia, there are definitely benefits of renting as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because imagine when the month come, I give you your money, and that's the end of it for me.
Yeah.
I don't have insurance to pay.
No.
I don't have to maintain the lawn.
Mm-mm.
I don't have to do no repairs to the property.
Nothing.
Right?
It's
Anything that happens, if I bust, I call in the landlord. Right?
And I call in landlord with attitude too.
Yeah, my pipe bust. I get water.
Boss, I need to bathe. That's your problem. You need to come and make sure I can take a bath. You know what I mean?
Right? So
Yeah,
there are
yeah.
benefits in renting.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, would you rent for the rest of your life? It might mean that you will be, if you choose to do that, you will definitely be moving around a bit. Because chances are,
No, I'm not saying you don't want to renew your list at the
Yeah.
end of that particular year.
he might stop doing repairs, so the place start to get dilapidated.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you know what?
No longer satisfied with that.
Yeah, so you move.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the flip side to
A little
renting.
more contention sometimes.
Yeah.
With these things. So if you find a good landlord like me, then you're in a good place. I take care
Yeah.
of you and make sure you're good. I'll do my best. I'll try my best.
Yeah, but
because
in renting,
not
you can have
everybody
more
is very
money.
considerate in your pocket. Mhm.
True. At the end of the day, renting, you can end up having more monies in your hand, in your
Mhm.
pocket, than if you're paying back a mortgage. So you can do more. You might be able to travel more.
Yeah.
You might be able to give more to the
Right.
kingdom, more to Hope FM.
You understand?
Right? These are things you'll be able to do more of. But then again, if you have a family, if you have children, you might want somewhere that they can call home. You might want somewhere where you don't have to be mindful of them crying when the night comes, and these different things. So it's based on you as an individual and the kind of life that you're looking for.
This guy come out
Yes,
calling Mr.
welcome.
Landlord. Good afternoon, Mr. I feel he's the wife that day. Anyway, let's move on. Here's a thought that I had when I actually came to this conclusion after doing some serious thought lately.
Yeah, let me hear from you.
It's a choice, eh? So what I'm saying is not telling people to do that, but something that I was thinking about. I was explaining this to my neighbor the other day, and I said, if I could turn back the hands of time, you know what I would do? To be honest, I would have built the same property, take the same loan, and what I would have done, right, is rent from somebody, but I would have built that property and rent it out.
Okay.
Right? So the intention there is to free the monies that I'm making from my daily job and allow this property to pay for itself. So somebody's going to pay, people who need to rent will rent it and they will pay for it for me. You understand?
Yeah.
So if my mortgage then, it becomes an investment. So in the beginning, rather than going and build a house, I would rent.
Right.
And I would still build a house, but I would rent out the house too.
Okay.
And that now will become a source of income for me. You understand? Because if I can make at least $1,200 to $1,500 from it, and the bank is being paid, and I have my full salary that I started paying, then I have an opportunity now to even make another investment. You understand what I'm saying? So the first thing though, you're becoming a landlord, so you have to be paying attention to the things you're getting yourself involved in. Don't think the house is just gonna work just so.
Yeah.
Expect sometimes to get a call the weirdest time. I have friends in the US
true.
that are landlords. They are involved in real estate. And bro, man say, I live Brooklyn, so I had to go down Manhattan some weird hours in the morning, tenant calling because I pipe bus. Say, what I gotta do is I have to get up and I have to go because the tenant have to be there is a business. Their comfort, you understand, is your interest.
Yeah.
You know? So sometimes some landlords don't get it right. And you need to know what you want if you decide to rent and who the landlord is, and you have to pay attention. Even if you have to ask questions to the past tenants, why you had to leave, so you can get an idea what you're getting into, then you have to do that. But honestly, God, even at this point in time, if my wife would argue with me, I would make that move too. Yeah, simple. You know, it's not that I don't like where I live now. It's just that, what is a house? You will still die and go to heaven and leave it behind.
Yeah.
So, you have to start looking at things. It's just a mindset change, so to speak.
True.
You know?
True.
You know, so.
Yeah, guys. So it's been a wonderful discussion. All right. Episode 26. We just gave you some points here on things to consider before owning your own property. You know, for those that came on a bit late, we encourage you to go back, look at the episode on YouTube, as we continue to share information with you guys. We want to thank everyone that was locked on today. We pray that you have a blessed night, and you continue to stay locked on to Hope FM Grenada. You can do so via our radio frequency 103.1 and our website, hopefmgrenada.com. Look out for our programming tomorrow. Sabi, we have on in the morning Trevor T with morning devotions and Lady Adonna. Then we have Precious Lady Abby. She'll be on right after from 7. And in the afternoon, I believe we will be having Heavenly Medicine.
Yeah, tomorrow, Heavenly Medicine. Will be an interesting one. I just need to confirm what the topic is, but I have an idea. But I can tell you guys, it's going to be real life. And we also have a couple of new persons in the coming weeks will be joining us on Hope Amplified.
Nice.
You know, joining God. That's just it. Not me, but God. Maybe I might just drop by sometime too. You never know. And we have some interesting thing coming up. Got to have a caller. We take this call before we go. I think I missed this one, boy. Let me try to call back the individual.
Sure.
Yeah, I didn't see this one coming in there. Let me see if we can make that call here.
Yeah, and one thing it's important, as we said earlier, speak to persons that did it before. Speak to persons that currently engaged in that has mortgage.
Well, caller, you can call us back. Feel free to give us a call back. We just missed your call. Sorry about that, but we'd love to answer your questions. So you can feel free to call us back. That will give them a few, about a minute or so to do so. I didn't even realize we missed that 2 calls, boy. My bad on that one. So caller, yes, you could feel free to call us back. We take this call. I'd love to hear from that caller, just to hear what questions or clarity they need, if we can address them.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so you were saying, anything else you were saying?
Yeah, so I was just encouraging persons to talk to persons that currently have mortgages.
Yeah.
And don't go into a mortgage to impress people. All right, a lot of times, now when you're outside and you see people have their house and thing is one face.
Yeah.
But when they come in the bank and they're struggling to make the payments is another thing.
Mm-hmm.
There is no problem with building a small home that you can comfortably manage and afford when the money comes. Right? At the end of the day, when you go and lie down in the bed at night, you're sleeping at peace because you know the bank paid. You're able to do all that you have planned with your financing, and is not a stretch when the month end comes. Right? So you need to keep that in mind as well.
Another thing I would say too, like if you're privileged to be in a family where you're not under pressure to live and find your own way, and based on the age you start working, I will encourage anybody, if you desire to own your own home, regardless if your parents have theirs and it could be yours, sometimes your only child and things of that nature, you can start saving. It's much cheaper for you if you can save quite a large lump sum of money. If you're serious, you have a good job, you've been blessed to have parents pay for your education, so you don't have no student loan to pay back.
Yeah.
And you started your education, your studies very early, and you finish at a reasonable age, and your parents have a nice home, but you decide you want your own. You could save that money and build that house cash.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because do the maths. If you could save $2,000 a month, you understand what I'm saying? Because some people can,
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can save $2,000 a month, you save that money for a good 15 years. You're not under pressure to live.
Yeah.
And you do the maths by then, you'll be amazed.
Yeah, not even 15 years.
Well, I'll go in extravagant as in 15, But the point is, 10 years will bring you a long way.
Yeah.
Just the same, So some people, what they do is they don't take the loan in its entirety. Instead, they just they put in a certain amount of money to ease that load of the mortgage, because interest on mortgages these days for the first 15 years got is approximately how much?
Well, the majority of the money going towards interest.
You understand? So when you do the maths and you check the amount of money,
majority of the funds, over 80%.
And I think that's what some people try to run from that, because they don't like the idea that the bank is going to benefit on them so much. But just remember, you actually get in a set of money up front.
Yeah.
And of course, banking, again, I wouldn't go into that because it is what it is. But at least if you get into it, know what you're getting into so you don't feel a hole later when you understand the truth. So if you know the truth up front about what you're getting into, then you know that's a choice you making consciously, and nobody have to come and say, well, this is what you didn't know. And now you know you're feeling bad, you want to sell the house, you can't believe your eyes, as the song says. You know, so these are important things to consider. I would have loved to hear from that caller. Maybe I will just link my phone and try and call him back here real quick. I'll probably link the phone to the let me do that. If they still want to talk to us, well, maybe not, because they didn't say anything again, so maybe I could just leave that there. What say you?
Yeah.
We need to wrap up anyways, man. We've been here too long.
These episodes are getting
and I could imagine
longer.
Next week, God, you want to wear the truth?
Yeah, well, what I could say, we will have
I guess. Yeah. That's all. We'll have a guess. We'll have a very interesting discussion.
Very interesting topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the topic?
That would be giving them too much information.
Yeah.
No?
Stay tuned to Hope 103.1 FM.
Yeah.
Look out. It'll be posted in advance so you would see when it's up. And we just want to be a part of the discussion. I want to say good evening to the folks listening on 103.1 FM. Those who are online, a blessed evening to you. And we are about to lock down right here. We hope that we shed some light and,
definitely
are in a wiser place to make sound decisions going forward. All right. So thank you again for joining us this evening on the Money Talk.
Yeah,
this has been episode 26, as my partner said already.
26, yeah.
We go in. I can see us reaching 50 and 100.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? So, guys, we here. You continue to write the book. The Money Talk.
The Money Talk.
Yeah. Later, guys.
All right. Good night.
Hope 103.1 FM. High on praise and exaltation. We are Hope 103.1 FM.